That's where we were going with this. Obviously, you see Davenport on the thumbnail. The good, the bad, the ugly. There was nothing good about the Marcus Davenport signing. It's end of the list. It was a terrible signing. When I when I saw the signing, and then we looked at his injury history, it was the same thing that I said about Jonah Jackson. I said that Jonah Jackson's injuries were trending in the wrong direction. Jonah Jackson was missing games every year, but he started off by missing one game this year, one game that year, 2 games, 3, then 4, like he's going the wrong way. Marcus Davenport, 1 year played 9 games. And they're like, oh, that was his best year. The year in which he played 9 games had his projection was blah, 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 blah. Had he been healthy the entire season, but no, that's the problem. Marcus Davenport wasn't going to be healthy for an entire season. I just want to put into perspective how unavailable Marcus Davenport was for us. Marcus Davenport played in game number 1 versus the Rams. The game that we lost against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was the second game of the season, he was already nicked. It was DeAndre Swift-esque. Remember how Swift would come in healthy, training camp, healthy, play one game, and then he's dealing with a shoulder injury or a foot injury or a labial injury for the entire season, right? He played one game and he's hampered for the rest of the season. So Marcus Davenport plays game number 1, gets injured in some way or the other, doesn't play in game number 2, comes back in game number 3. Now, whether it was a karate chop or an MMA move or whatever the case may be, it wasn't a freak accident because you expected Marcus Davenport not to be able to finish the season. You expected him to get injured somehow. But this was a season-ending injury in his second game action of the season. His second game action of the season, Marcus Davenport was not available to us. Now, was that a bad signing because Marcus Davenport is a bad player? No, it wasn't. It was exasperated by the fact that not only did people like me call it, and other people were saying, well, I think he's going to be healthy. I think he's going to be playing a full season. That person also believed that the Chiefs wouldn't make the playoffs. Okay? Because some people are here just to give hot takes. They're so concerned about being right about things that they say crazy things and talk out of the side of their neck. I'm not going to give that to you. Everything that I say is backed up by an opinion that has something to do with football. I'm not going to tell you that Matt Stafford isn't a good quarterback or he was never good in Detroit. Oh, he was plenty good. He just never won anything in Detroit. I wasn't happy that he won a Super Bowl. But I'm not going to sit up here and I'll tell you that had Jaquiski Tartt not dropped that pass, Matthew Stafford has no Super Bowls. But that's what happened. He got to the game by hook or crook and he won the Super Bowl. He has a ring and you can't take that away from him. I'm not going to say wild stuff like Patrick Mahomes is trash. I'm not going to say stuff like that. I used to say stuff like that about Michael Jordan. You know how old I was? 9. I was a little kid. And I used to say stuff like that. Now I'll tell you that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player ever. Right? So we're talking about facts and opinions. I don't do things to be a hot take artist. I don't say wild and crazy stuff just to get you to watch. I don't do that. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to give you my opinion straight. So my opinion straight of Marcus Davenport was he's got all the ability in the world. He's got all the talent in the world. But the one ability that he doesn't have is availability. So because he didn't have that availability, Marcus Davenport hurt the team going forward. Because now when Marcus Davenport goes out, instead of who was available, right? Let's just say Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, we know, wasn't available. They restructured his contract so he could stay in LA for one more year. Okay? Who was the Hassan Reddick was available at some point, but just someone else. Okay? Instead of going to, let's say, all right, in week number 3, we have an injured player who will not be on the team for the rest of the season. Now we're going to Josh Pascal, who was the backup for the rest of the season. Okay? We're dealing with a backup for the rest of the season from week number 3. Let's say we got Hassan Reddick, and Hassan Reddick lasted 10 games. Okay? Now you have a backup for 7. When your backup plays more games than the starter, you have an issue. Okay? And then things just got compounded from there. I'm not going to say that Marcus Davenport's injury led to anybody else's injuries. That's not the case. Marcus Davenport's injury made our defense less potent when he was supposed to be brought in to make the defense potent. Now, the contract was fine. It was a huge risk. It was a huge risk. And I wanted to see Brad Holmes double up. We wanted to see him double up at the trade deadline. We weren't able to do that. We got Zadarius Smith, right? And then there's some things going on with Zadarius Smith's contract where people are saying that he's probably a cut candidate. He could be a cut candidate. But however, I think that the Lions will restructure his deal to make sure he's able to get his money, but it just mitigates the cap hit, because the cap hit could be 11, could be 18. You know, there's some confusion on what the cap hit may be. So everyone thought it was probably just $5 million or whatever, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. But I think they'll do other things with it. But I would have liked to have seen Brad Holmes double up. He did not. He put his eggs in the basket, of Marcus Davenport, and I think that was a bad move. Am I criticizing Brad Holmes? Am I saying he's a bad GM? No. I'm saying the bad and the ugly was Marcus Davenport. What up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P here. Listen, if you want to continue keeping your Lions news pragmatic, if you want to keep getting the stats and not none of that static, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share and let everybody know what's going on around here. And turn on your notifications, because how else would you know that we're up in here keeping your Lions news pragmatic? Appreciate you once again, and we are out. Peace.